Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another edition of Against the Odds. And I'm super hyped this week because we're doing something that I've been wanting to do ever since March of the Machine spoiler season, which is pull off some ridiculous battle shenanigans in Modern. So today we're heading to Modern to play some Aether Snap Vampire Hexmage battles. So let's talk about this deck, what it's trying to do, jump into some games and see just how many battles we can flip in Modern. So the goal of our deck is pretty simple. We have 5 different battles in our deck, 18 total battles, and we want to spend the early game playing as many battles as possible. So we have Invasion of Urgamon to loot through our deck to make some treasures, Invasion of Asglow, an Invasion of Tarkir, its removal, Invasion of Ikoria, kind of a combo piece, we'll talk about that in a minute, Invasion of Kaldheim to draw through our deck. So over the first few turns of the game, we just want to play as many of these as possible, because our goal is to get 3, 4, 5 battles on the battlefield, and then cast Aether Snap, this forgotten old card that hasn't been relevant in 20 years, but all of a sudden is absurd with battles. It's a 5-mana sorcery. This is remove all counters from all permanents and exile all tokens. So we get to wreck the token deck, but the real power is for 5 mana, this flips all of our battles. So all of a sudden, our Invasion of Ikoria turns into an 8/8 Zeltortha. Our Invasion of Tarkir turns into this 4/4 Shocking Defiant Thundermaw. Invasion of Urgamon gets us a Taruga Cliff Charger, which can find even more battles to keep the fun going. So that's the idea of the deck. Play the battles, play the Aether Snap, flip them all, trust that the flip side is going to win us the game. We also have a pretty fun backup plan in Vampire Hexmage. Vampire Hexmage is just a 2-drop vampire that can sack itself to remove all the counters from a permanent. So this by itself can flip any battle, and we use it to flip whatever battle we happen to have. It also kind of combos with Invasion of Ikoria, because Invasion of Ikoria, for double green and X, can tutor up a non-human creature of that mana value. So for 4 mana, we can Invasion of Ikoria to get Vampire Hexmage, immediately sack the Hexmage, and flip Ikoria into an 8/8 Zeltortha, which hopefully will win us the game in just a couple of attacks. And we can do this really quickly, because the rest of our deck is ramp and removal. We have the classic ramp package of Dryad Arbor and also Utopia Sprawl, which can get us up to 4 extra mana on turn 2. So we can potentially get a turn 2 Zeltortha in this deck with the help of Vampire Hexmage. Otherwise, we got Fury for removal, we got Lightning Bolt for removal, we got 1 Grist, which we can also tutor up with our Invasion of Ikoria. Speak of Invasion of Ikoria, our mana base is mostly just boring fetch land, shock lands, but we have 2 Dryad Arbors because it also works really well with Invasion of Ikoria. We can play Invasion of Ikoria X0, get a Dryad Arbor because it's a creature that's also a land, and use it like a 2-mana ramp spell essentially. So that's the plan of the deck. The sideboard, and not a ton to say. I mean, a bunch of hate cards, a bunch of removals, some Thought Seizes, some Graveyard Haste, some Chalices for the Cascade deck. Pretty typical Modern stuff. Anyway, that is Aether Snap battles for Modern. That's our Against the Odds deck for this week. So let's jump into some games and see just how many battles we can flip with Aether Snap and also Vampire Hexmage in Modern. Thanks for watching, everyone. Enjoy the games, and I'll be back in a bit for the wrap up. Need some battles of your own? Well, you can snag them from our sponsor, Card Kingdom, over at cardkingdom.com/mtggoldfish. Since we have the Hexmage in hand, kind of a green mana away from just like naturally flipping this Invasion of Ikoria, we'd actually love to draw land here. If we can draw land, we can cast this X0 to get a Dryad Arbor. Boom it. Untap land, Birds of Paradise. Well, worst case. All right, we don't draw land, but we do get to kill the birds. Edict it away, ping ya. Oh, we really need to draw land here. All right, birds down, opponent down to 16. We really don't want to spend a Hexmage to flip this. I mean, we need mana to cast it anyway, but about it. Breeding Pool tapped. Land. Well, okay, that's not exactly a land, but Utopia Sprawl on green past the turn. Urza's Saga. Ooh, Chatterfang, interesting. Well, that's not great. Boy, we're missing lands like crazy. So I think what we have to do here is Invasion of Ikoria, X1, Arbor Elf, and then Fury to kill the Chatterfang. We just can't let that live, because that can snipe our Arbor Elf. We really want this Arbor Elf to live past the turn. I mean, if we get to untap here, things are kind of interesting. Opponent takes up Urza's Saga. If we get to untap, we're kind of in sweet shape. We really need this Arbor Elf to stay alive. Was this a Coco? Birds of Paradise, okay. Grist. Oh, are they going to kill the Arbor Elf? They are. Okay. Land! We need a land. We need a land. Okay, this kind of works, right? So we get to Invasion of Urgamon. We get to Invasion of Urgamon. Discard Invasion of Keldheim. Play a Vampire Hexmage. What are the odds our opponent has Pithing Needle in their deck? I have a healthy fear of Pithing Needles now that we got by that before. We really want to sack this Hexmage end step. Oh, we're still having mana issues. Opponent's going to make a construct. Well, what would they be playing main deck? There's no way, right? There's no way. You know what? Maybe we just do it. You know what? We're just gonna do it. We're gonna play around it just in case. I don't think we can take another Pithing Needle blowout off of Urza Saga after that last video, or like a few videos ago. All right, Zatortha, go. The one big downside of Zatortha, all right, opponent gets Witch's Oven. One big downside of Zatortha is it does die to Fatal Push, which isn't ideal. Invasion of Tarkir. We do want to kill the Grist. Flip Invasion of Urgamon. Cast Invasion of Urgamon. Discard Fury. We're at 20. Let's take a fetch. Play the fetch. Crack the fetch. Blood Crypt. Invasion of Tarkir. Kill the Grist. And Vampire Hexmage. Go. What do you got? Can you combo off? Okay, that's a good one. Academy Manufacture. We should be able to win next turn, right? I think. Oh, the Gingerbread Cabin. Okay. Let's see if this is enough. If our opponent can just go infinite, then they got it. Otherwise, we do win next attack. So we know they can sack something to get another clue, food, and treasure. Overgrown Tomb, untap down to 12. I mean, opponent also knows they're dead next turn, unless they can draw something. Aether Snap's actually kind of funny against this deck. Ooh, come on, battles! Opponent. Why did they get... That doesn't... Oh, because of the Witch's Oven. Okay, yep. So opponent, 3 treasures, 3 clues. Oh my god, in the Coco. Oh no. This could let our opponent win. Lannis Chatterfang. So now I think our opponent's just infinite, right? Or functionally infinite. They only have 1 card in hand though. Passing. Well, okay. Flip Invasion of Tarkir. Cast Invasion of Tarkir. Is Chatterfang enough to keep our opponent alive? Does that change anything? So they can sack enough squirrels to stay alive, and then they should be able to just win next turn. Yeah, they can kill the... Oh, they gotta sack the Chatterfang, though. Our opponent goes to 1, and they have the food, and they have the Lannis. Invasion of Ikoria. Go digging. Take another Hexmage. I mean, our opponent should be able to win here, right? They're untapping with Lannis and Academy Manufacture in a big board. Like, they should be able to win here from 1 life. I guess if our opponent's hand is just straight blanks, maybe not, because we did get rid of the Chatterfang, but... Oh no. Oh no. Did we mess up? Should we not have flipped the battle? Oh yeah, now this is definitely over. Jenny Faye and double Academy Manufacture. I mean, we've played this deck before. We know once you have this pile of things on the battlefield, you win the game. Double Coco's tough. That is unfortunate. Wow. Our deck did its thing too. Our opponent, wow, they hit. Oh, double Coco. Double Coco. We can bring in more removal for our opponent's combo pieces. We never found the Aether Snap, and we were pretty stuck on mana. That was brutal. That was a brutal game. Not a ton we can do about that, unfortunately. Maybe we should have stopped flipping battles. I don't know if it would have worked out or not. Maybe we should have just went face with the 8/8 and just hope that would be enough instead of trying to add more bodies to the battlefield. Yeah, let's try something like that. I guess we'll keep this. It's more okay than great, but we'll try it. We got an Arbor Elf. Wooded Foothills. Crack Wooded Foothills. Forest. Play an Arbor Elf. Go. We're gonna try to hold on to this Fury. Hopefully we can just ramp into it so we can hardcast it. Breeding Pool for our opponent. Birds of Paradise. Play a Mountain. Invasion of Urgamon. Discard the Dryad Arbor. Untap. Play an Arbor Elf. Well, let's see what our opponent plays. We should have enough mana to just hardcast Fury next turn. We really want to kill more than just a birds, though. Just killing a birds isn't that exciting. Hopefully our opponent adds another combo piece to the battlefield and we get them both. That would be ideal. And then hopefully Fury flips Urgamon to get an Ikoria to get a Zoltortha to actually win the game. That's the dream scenario. We'll see if it works out. Manufacture, this is basically what we were hoping for. So now we get to untap. Wooded Foothills. Crack it. Yeah, get the Blood Crypt. Tap, untap. Tap, untap. Fury. Kill 'em all. Opponent. Lannis. Do you have a creature to make a clue? Okay, Beseju. We are definitely attacking this invasion with Fury. Gonna let it go. All right, so we'll cast it. Discard land. Yeah, I think this is best. We can get Ikoria. But rather than Ikoria-ing for a Hexmage, I think we just get Grist. So Ikoria X3. Take a Grist. Grist. Second Arbor Elf. Kill the Lannis. Well, let's see if they can Coco into something crazy. Good news is we have a Fury left over in hand. So if our opponent does build, at some point we need to hit our opponent though and close out this game. Because we saw last game, once our opponent gets their pieces stack up, it gets pretty wild. Another Lannis, okay. And a tap land. Passing. Well, we will take up Grist, make an insect. Fury at the Ikoria, Cliff Stomper at our opponent. Oh, opponent's gonna let it go. Okay, yes, we will take Zoltortha. Tap, untap. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Fury number 2. Get rid of the Lannis. And we'll play the land. This is a pretty good battle board. Opponent needs to win the game. Like, they need to Coco into something that wins a game. That seems difficult. There's a Coco. What do they hit? It needs to be like manufacture alone is a yes, and then go from there. And opponent doesn't hit it, and Zoltortha is gonna close out the game. And that was good. That was good. Do we want to change anything else? We are on the draw this game, which is a little scary. Yeah, this is probably as good as our setup's gonna get. We haven't seen an Aether Snap this match. Aether Snap could actually be good against our opponent's tokens. Urgamon and 2 Force of Vigors. I think we actually keep this. We might regret it, but I think Force of Vigor is pretty good against our opponent's deck. Cauldron Familiar. Stomping Grounds tapped. So we can turn to ramp. Birds of Paradise. Breeding Pool. Turn to ramp. Hopefully, boy, find something. Fury would be good at some point. Fury was key last game. Oh my god, even more lands. That is a lot of lands. Verdant Catacombs, crack Verdant Catacombs, grab a forest in the deck. Invasion of Urgamon. Discard a mountain. Well, there's a Fury if we can get to it. Oh, this is the potential Coco turn, unfortunately. Land gets in. Oh, this is going to be Coco. Coco disaster. Opponent hits us down to 16. Chatterfang. Oh, red card. Red card for Fury. Hexmage. I guess this kind of works. Can we wait another turn? Probably not. I think what we have to do is Verdant Catacombs, play Verdant Catacombs, crack Verdant Catacombs, get a swamp, play a Hexmage, flip, get the Cliffhanger, discard a land, Asglow, pitch it to Fury. Kind of a neat synergy that we can tutor up a battle just to have something to pitch to Fury. And then Fury away, Chatterfang birds. That was not the worst turn. We got a 3-4. We managed to get our Fury down to get rid of the Chatterfang. Our hand is a little sus. We really need more battles. We could use an Ooh. Oh, Fatal Push? Sure. And the Catacombs. Opponent hits us. All right, Ikoria. Arbor Elf, eh? Yeah, I think we just wait a turn. Play the Arbor Elf. Play the Foothills. I would like to get more value out of this Fortress of Vigor than just killing a Witch's Oven. Gonna do Cauldron Familiar things. So I think we can give it another turn to see. Our opponent could draw Urza's Saga. They could draw Academy Manufacturer. And then we can get a 2-for-1 out of it. Could really use a battle. A battle would be sweet. Opponent hits us down to 12. All right, gonna pass. Well, we will thin the deck. Grab an Overgrown Tomb. Untap. More lands. All right, well, Wooded Foothills. Pass the turn. Opponent. Cauldron Familiar things. Okay, we're gonna wait one more turn. End step, we're probably gonna blow up the Witch's Oven. This 2 a turn is adding up. What happens if we block the cat? Our opponent's probably gotta sack it, right? Dryad Arbor. Block the cat. Oh, opponent's gonna let it go. Okay. Get rid of the Witch's Oven. Oh, does our opponent have Dryad Arbor? Okay, just a forest. Now you get a Birds of Paradise. Oh, we need to draw something. We need a big draw. Opponent. Oh, no. Oh, that's bad. That's real bad. Opponent. Gonna sack the birds to kill the Arbor Elf. Come on, battle. Come on, battle. We came here to battle. Can we draw a battle? Oh, and their last card gets back the silly cat anyway. That's a lot of lands in a row past the turn. Oh, that is not good running. Opponent does not get back the cat. I mean, opponent was technically out of cards, but they have a grist and we do not. Opponent grist actually hits an insect to make 2 insects. Thin the deck. We're getting to the draw something other than a land or bust stage of this game. That is technically still a land. Okay. Yep. And I think we're dying. Sure, Utopia Sprawl. Oh, we have fizzled so hard here. So hard. Cauldron Familiar returns. We dropped to 7. Oh, so many turns of mana in a row. Opponent hits us to 4. I mean, this is game. Gotta draw it this turn. Urza Saga. And that's another mana source. And we sadly scoop it up. Boy, we drew a lot. Oh my god. Oh, we weren't gonna draw anything forever. Fair enough, on to the next. Yeah, we'll try this. How many battles we can flip in Modern with a Aether Snap? Also Vampire Hexmage, but, well, all right, Overgrown to Untapped. So, I mean, this hand can flip in Urgamon, potentially. Well, definitely, assuming our stuff resolves. Misty Rainforest for our opponent. Well, Mountain and Invasion of Urgamon. And I think we have to discard this Dryad Arbor. Well, we'll pass the turn. Would have been nice to hit a land there, but... All right, opponent, what are you up to? Opponent, Misty Breeding Pool tapped. Untaps. Spirebluff Canal. A control deck of some kind, probably. Well, we hit a land, which is nice. Invasion of Kaldheim would be the sweetest, but probably getting countered, right? Verdant Catacombs. Crack Verdant Catacombs. We'll take the Blood Crypt, and I think we just go for a Kaldheim. Invasion of Kaldheim. Ah, opponent's living ending. I see. Okay, well. Oh my goodness, and a Force. All right. Misty Rainforest, and... Well, okay, so Overgrown Tomb untapped. Invasion of Urgamon. We'll discard Fury. Vampire Hexmage. Pass the turn. Gonna do some cycling. And some more cycling. So we know the living end is coming. We're gonna have some stuff in the graveyard, so we're not just straight up dead. Opponent gets a Steam Vents. I don't know if it's gonna be enough for us to overcome our opponent's ever-growing graveyard. Sunken Ruins. Going to pass. We are going to Hexmage. Flip an Urgamon. Cast the Cliff Charger. Discard an Arbor Elf. Invasion of Ikoria. Untap. Go to combat. Let's see if they cascade. No. So we will Invasion of Ikoria. X2. Another Hexmage. Pass the turn. All right, here's the Violent Outburst. So we will sack the Hexmage to get in the graveyard. This is going to be interesting. Here's the living end. We get back a Fury, which I think kills Street Wraith. I mean, doesn't this kind of maybe set us up to win the game next turn? Can't we just block with the Hexmages, flip both of our battles, and hopefully kill our opponent on the backswing? Setting up the top of their deck. I think our looting and sacrifice synergies might actually give us a shot here to win with the battles. So we kill the Swamp Walker with the Fury. Opponent builds a board, but it's not necessarily deadly. Goes to combat, block with a Hexmage, double block, and then sack Hexmage, flip Ikoria, get a Zeltortha, kill the Architect, drop to 12, and then 13. Ooh, Aether Snap. Go to combat. Okay, opponent's gonna do it again. Sack a Hexmage. Opponent, living end number 2. Gets to cycle in response, unfortunately. Why do we have an invasion? Why did Invasion of Urgamon come into play? I don't think that's supposed to do that, is it? Okay, we'll discard a Kaldheim. We draw Lightning Bolt. I think we sack. Flip an Urgamon. Cast the Urgamon. Discard Aether Snap. Get an Ikoria. Play an Ikoria. X2. Wow, do they have Force Blue card again? Okay, no. Ikoria resolves. Library. Hexmage. Let's just pass. This has been a weird game. Our battles are keeping up with living end, though. Opponent goes to combat. Attacks with everything. Well, we will Hexmage the Ikoria. cast Zeltortha, bounces Zeltortha. So we will block and kill this, drop to 5. Well, 1, 2, 3, Invasion of Ikoria. Actually, maybe we just go X2, Invasion of Ikoria. Wow! Opponent draws it. Oh, they draw it. So go to combat, hit ya. Actually, should we hit this? Maybe that's better. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. All right, so everything at the Ergamon. Flip the Ergamon. Cast it. Wow, this has been a wild game. Discard Arbor Elf. I think we just take Asgao. Invasion of Asgao you. Make you sacrifice, ping ya. Invasion of Asgao you. Make you sacrifice, ping ya, and pass the turn. See if they can do it again. Do you have another living end? Going to pass. We untap. Oh my god, they have a third one? It's another Violent Outburst. We gotta sack the Hexmage. Final living end. We have gone through 3 living ends with no graveyard hate. And opponent, gonna cycle in response, of course. What a wild game. Wait, why did Invasion of Ikoria? I'm so confused. Is this bugged? Why is Invasion of Ikoria coming back with living end? Well, kill a flyer. Am I missing something? Or is this a bug? That's the second time a single battle has returned. I'm so confused. Invasion of Ikoria can... Wait, okay. It's gotta be a bug. We draw Invasion of Tarkir. Invasion of Tarkir. Opponent has another Force of Negation. Okay, pass the turn. I mean, we're not dead, right? We can flip Ikoria to block. I mean, assuming our opponent didn't top deck something. Hexmage, flip Ikoria. Get Zeltortha. Block. Block. So we take 3. What a game this is. What a ridiculous game. Flip Asgao. The Hexmage is going into the graveyard to come back with living ends actually been pretty big. Get a dork. Flip Asgao. Get another dork. Usually these decks only have 3 living ends, so I don't think we're getting living ended again. Down to 2. Opponent passes. We draw. Grist. Do some attacking. So so we won. I still think something is weird, and I don't really understand what. I'm not going crazy, right? Like twice, but not every time. A living end happened, and for some reason, a battle came back into play, but it didn't put all the battles back into play. It was just like a single battle came back into play, 2 different battles, right? Like one time it was a invasion of, oh boy, Ergamon, and then another time it was, I mean, okay, it's the sad thing is, I think that bug is maybe overshadowing just the absurdity of what just happened here. That was a turn 9 game against Living End, where our opponent cast every Living End, but our ability to keep sacking Hexmages to get them in the graveyard let us actually, I guess with the help of a bug that I don't understand, maybe, go toe-to-toe with Living End without any graveyard hate, which is ridiculous. I mean, now we get to go to sideboarding and bring in 2 Chalice to the Voids, 2 Endurances, huge. Fury's also kind of good. Scavenging You is huge. Fury, I like that Fury lets us just discard a card. That's relevant. The fact that we can evoke this just to get it in the graveyard, we saw it in that game, was actually like hugely relevant. Lightning bolts I don't think are super relevant. The same is true of some of these lesser battles. We saw it there. Once our opponent builds a big board, it's unlikely that a single removal spell is going to matter, although double Asglau that one turn did matter. Fatal Push, Thoughtseize. I don't know if Thoughtseize is even worth it. What a wild weird, this deck plays weird games. Like the deck, I don't know if our record's gonna be great, but it's functional. It's functional, and it actually like kind of does. We saw some pretty cool things there, just like things going in and out of the graveyard. Oh god. Ye old 1 land nut draw. We gotta keep this just because we have 2 pieces of defense. We really need to draw lands though. Wow, okay. Opponent pitches a Living End. Well, there goes our Chalice. Thankfully, we have 2 pieces of defense. So opponent pitches a Living End of Grief to take, takes Endurance. Okay. So they're going to take the Endurance and then counter the Chalice, I guess. Land? No. Hexmage. Well, okay. What did Foothills? Chalice on 0. Resolves. Okay, so we're not going to die until the chalice goes away, although the endurance going away is sad. Opponent cycles a curator. We really need to draw land. Drawing a land would go a long ways here. Oh boy, opponent cycling aggressively. Misty Rainforest, and land off the top. Land off the top. Arbor Elf. Well, okay. Wooded Foothills. This is a painful way to do it. Wooded Foothills, get us stomping grounds, untapped, plain Arbor Elf. Pass the turn. No Besajus, please. No Besajus. Opponent cracks. Besajus and Force of Vigor are the most common ways for our opponent to unlock here. Land. Aether Snap. Tap, untap. Tap, Invasion of Ikoria, X0, grab a Dryad Arbor, and pass the turn. There it is. There it is. Okay. So we'll grab an Overgrown Tomb. We had the hand we wanted, but our opponent had multiple pieces of defense here to let them get the steal. So we are going to get back an Endurance. Our opponent's going to get Curator Grief, double Street Wraith, takes the Hexmage. Yeah, I'm not convinced that we can get out of this. We draw another Swamp. Invasion of Tarkir. This is just too much damage, though. Invasion of Tarkir. Kill the Grief. Play the land. Pass the turn. Yeah, Swamp Walk on these Street Wraiths is actually wrecking us here. Opponent hits us for 1 million. Oh, down to 7. And this puts us dead on board. Yeah. All right. We had multiple answers, and our opponent had multiple answers to the answers. Grief has made this deck way better than it used to be. Run it back. Good news is we're on the play, which I think changes the equation a decent amount. Like, being on the play gives us an extra turn to get things set up, an extra turn to get like scavenging ooze going. I think that that's a big deal. Well, we get to play first. Can we even keep this hand? We have the Chalice, but our only land is a Dryad Arbor. We will put let's put Urgamon to the bottom. So our defense is Scavenging Ooze, which is amazing defense if we draw land. If we don't draw land, or we get griefed, it gets a lot sketchier. Verdant Catacombs, crack it. Overgrown Tomb, untapped. Arbor Elf, go. Botanical Sanctum, Riverwinder cycled. Arbor Elf. Well, okay, so we tap. We tap for green. We play Utopia Sprawl. Untap. And we play Scavenging Ooze. And pass the turn. Steam Vents for our opponent. Tapped. And passes. We draw a Fury that we can't currently pitch. Well, tap. Play Ikoria X0. Grab a Dryad Arbor. Untap the land. Go to combat. Let's hit that Ikoria. There might be a chance we flip it naturally. Pass the turn. Opponent. We still do need to draw land. Opponent. Misty Rainforest. Cracks it. Like, our opponent might have to just, like, Shardless Agent to wrath our board, even though they don't get anything back. Looks like that's the plan. We get to eat the Riverwinder. All right, well, there's living on number 1, but there also goes our board. Not great, not great. Passes. Land. Okay, well, we will play an Arbor Elf. Yeah, I guess just pass the turn. Not making it look super easy at the moment. And gets in, hits us. Sure. Down to 16. Aether Snap. Well, untap. Tap. Hexmage. Do we need to Fury? Probably. Just to get it in the graveyard. Fury, pitch a Fury. Kill the Shardless Agent. All right, I mean, we're putting up a fight with 1 land. Opponent cracks the Misty. Steam Vents. We have a pretty nice graveyard. Doesn't mean our opponent isn't going to draw an Endurance and ruin it. That's definitely a possibility. I mean, we're going to flip this Ikoria, though. Get Zeltortha. And oh my god, they scooped it up! They scooped it up! We battled through Living End! What a game! What a match! An Aether Snap. We didn't actually Aether Snap, but wow! So game 1 was wonky because of whatever was going on with possible battle bug of some battles Living ending back into play. That was just 1 land, Ikoria, flip it, opponent apparently can't answer it and scoops it up. Maybe this deck has a shot. Maybe it has a shot. That was sweet. That was super sweet. Aether Snap battling this hand is risky. I mean, as long as Arbor Elf lives, this hand's pretty sweet because we can Urgamon to start hitting our land drops and make some treasures and dig for a Aether Snap. On the other hand, if Arbor Elf just dies, We might die with it. That is the risk of one land mana dork keeps. We just need a turn to get this Urgamon down and fix our problems. What are you up to, opponent? Misty Rainforest. And, oh, cracks it. Oh, a forest. Okay. And an ignoble hierarch. Okay, that's fine. Our mana dork lives. That's all we cared about. So we will red, untap, green, Invasion of Urgamon. Discard a Invasion of Keldheim. Hitting a land would still be good. Oh god, another one. And then, well, I guess we have to bolt the Hierarch past the turn. Oh, but we missed our land drop. Okay, we need one more turn. Well, we dug one card deeper towards a theoretical land. Oh, we should be able to get a lot of battles on the battlefield. Breeding Pool. Tapped or untapped. Is this Infect? It could be Infect. Untapped. Passes. Yeah, okay, there's an Overgrown Tomb. Play an Overgrown Tomb. Play a Invasion of Urgamon, but tap properly. Opponent could be leaving up a counter, I guess. Red-green, Invasion of Urgamon. Discard a Keldheim. Draw a Swamp. Yeah, we're not even going to attack. We're just going to pass. We're going to pass. Opponent untaps. Find an Aether Snap. Opponent besiege you. Thankfully can't kill battles. Feels like a kind of card that would be able to kill battles, but Blighted Agent. Okay, well, we might just be dead. Playing a Blighted Agent in a way that lets them leave up protection, not ideal. We draw. Well, play the Swamp. I mean, I guess if we die, we die. Like, that's kind of... We could try to play Invasion Tarkir, but the way our opponent played this, there's no way they're not leaving up a protection spell. So I think we just got to try to do cool things and hope for the best. Invasion of Keldheim. Exile a couple cards, draw a couple cards. Yeah, let's cash in our treasure for a Arbor Elf. Pass the turn. All right, Infect, you can kill us now. Just infect things. What can you do? The noblest of hierarchs. Fiery Brutal Death, Might of Old Krosa. And opponent goes to combat. Gonna get in and hit us. For 6. Yeah, that's 6 poison counters. We need some sort of top deck here. Another, boy, that's a lot of Keldheims. Play the Forest, Invasion of Urgamon, discard the Keldheim, draw Utopia Sprawl. We gotta go for it. I am under no illusion that this is actually gonna work, but all right, how about Invasion Tarkir? We got a lot of battles on the battlefield. Did not draw any way to flip them, and our opponent just, Blighted Agent. 4 cards in hand. Maybe they don't have a protection spell. Just the way our opponent played it by leaving up mana and not running out Blighted Agent on turn 2 makes it seem very likely that they're holding a protection spell, because if you didn't have a protection spell, I think you'd just run out the Blighted Agent and go to town, Infect style. No dragons. Well, boom. How about that? How we feeling about a Invasion of Tarkir to the Blighted Agent about it? Just let it die? All right, Vines of Vastwood. Yeah, well, I mean, we knew that was likely. All right, well, we will pass the turn. Oh, I wanted to see all these battles flip. It would have been so sweet. Yeah, in fact, it's an annoying deck to play against. Golly. Opponent. You don't see it much anymore, but Distortion Strike goes to combat. Do you have another pump spell? All right, so that's 9 poison counters. All right, so we live one more turn. Aether Snap would be the most spectacular. I just want to see it happen because it'll be so sweet. Yeah, this being unblockable is super obnoxious. I feel like if it wasn't Blighted Agent, we could block it. It would be a lot easier, but Infect is, I mean, they're prepared. Opponent in the tank with their Infect deck. Even more Blighted Agents. Sure. Good, clean, fair magic. We draw Arbor Elf. All right, well, Infect is tough. Chalice is in. Fatal Push, Thoughtseize, probably Fury in. Invasion's a Keldheim. The Edict seems good. I don't even know if Chalice is that good. If we can play it on turn 2, it does lock most of their deck. Maybe we go down all the Keldheims? Let's go down all the Keldheims. We're gonna cut one Aether Snap, unfortunately. One Aether Snap, one Urgamon. Let's run it like that. Yeah, Blighted Agent's like uniquely problematic just because we can't block it. Other Infect creatures we can just block, so like Infect is still scary because they just have such a fast clock, but if it's not Blighted Agent, at least we have a chance. Blighted Agent, you don't really have a chance. All right, we're on the play. I mean, we're going to keep this. We would like to draw another land, but I mean, I guess we can Ikoria for a land. This Invasion of Asglow might actually be a secret hero depending on our opponent's draw. Wooded Foothills. Crack Wooded Foothills. I guess Utopia Sprawl can fill in, sort of. Stomping Grounds. Arbor Elf. Go. Besiege you. Ignoble Hierarch. Land off the top for a super cool turn. Thoughtseize. Utopia Sprawl. On black. Untap, I think we're just gonna Thoughtseize Arbor Elf. The other option is we could just Asglow and kill the Ignoble Hierarch. I really want to get the Arbor Elf down though. Wow, okay. Going to Force of Vigor. All right, well, I mean, now none of this matters. Play another Arbor Elf and pass the turn. Well, that's a blowout. Opponent did have to spend multiple cards, but we needed that Utopia Sprawl to make black mana. Glistener Elf. Well, okay. Utopia Sprawl. Black. Untap. Tap it. Green black. Thoughtseize you. Blighted Agent. Snakeskin Veil. Blossoming Defense. Glistener Elf. All right, so we'll take the Blighted Agent. Untap. Yeah, opponent's gonna Snakeskin Veil. That's fine. Red black. Invasion of Asglow. Make you sack. Pass the turn. Opponent. Hopefully they don't draw a land. Opponent combat. For 2, in fact. Okay. Well, we will tap, untap, tap, Invasion of Ikoria, Hexmage. Opponent has what? Blossoming Defense in hand? All right, we will just pass. Actually, should we attack? We probably should. Attack our opponent down to 18. So in theory, we block with a Hexmage, sack, get Zeltortha, and then win before our opponent can kill us? Ooh, opponent draws a land. Okay. I mean, we know most of our opponent's hand. They have 1 card we don't know about, 2 protection spells, 2 pump spells. They need unblock it. You can see the difference, though, between Blighted Agent and Glistener Elf. Like, Glistener Elf, we can just block it. Like, it's not, until they draw something to make it unblockable, it's not that much of a threat. And if we ever hit another Asglow, ooh, opponent. Plus, next turn, we can just cast this Fury. They're gonna Blossoming Defense or something, but whatever. Well, not bad for 1 land and getting our first Utopia Sprawl blown up. Opponent, Glistener Elf number 2 goes to combat. Wow, doesn't even attack. Well, we will, do our thing. Flip it, get an 8/8. And I mean, I guess the question is, can you somehow kill us next turn? Because Zeltortha is coming. We will Invasion of Ikoria, and we will flip Invasion of Ikoria, and we will cast an 8/8 unblockable. Another Hexmage. Hit you for 8. Opponent takes it. Tap, untap. Yeah, I think we just Fury. Tap, untap, tap, Hardcast Fury. Opponent can save 1 of them, but yeah, 2 to each. So we get rid of 1 of the Glistener Elves, get a pump spell out of our opponent's hand. I don't think there's a card that can kill us from here. And I don't know if our opponent has a card that can actually save. All right, so they save the bigger one. So our opponent somehow has to kill us through a blocker with a 2/2 Glistener Elf and us at 2 poison. I don't think it's in 1 card in hand, 2 cards in hand now. I don't think it can happen. I don't think there's a card that does it. And I think Zeltortha, our battle flipping, actually gonna be Infect here. Opponent goes to combat. Nope. No attacks. Aren't you just straight up dead then? I'm so confused. Go to combat. Swing. I mean, I guess I could have drawn removal, but attack. Blocking doesn't do anything. Put the damage at your face. Okay, sure. As though it wasn't blocked. Okay. Our 1 land hand beat our opponent's 2 land hand. Do we even want the chalices now? They might be too slow. They might be too slow with us being on the draw. Process? It is a slow sweeper, but yeah, we're gonna go down 1 chalice. Let's run it like that. Well, I mean, we got a game off, in fact. The Hexmage synergy with Zeltortha actually, Lightning Bolt and 6 lands. I don't think we can keep it. Bolt is great. We do want the turn 1 removal spell, but there's just not enough going on. Ooh, okay. This hand is interesting. Dried Arbor to the bottom, I guess. This is very interesting. So we got the turn 1 removal spell for the Ignoble Hierarch. Double Invasion of Tarkir into the Hexmage. And another bolt. Well, what if Foothills? Crack it. Let's get Stomping Grounds. We can get Blood Crypt with the Catacombs. It doesn't really matter. Stomping Grounds untapped. Kill the Ignoble Hierarch. Pass the turn. We'll see. Maybe we regret not going black. Opponent for the Hexmage. Boseiju. And Glistener Elf. Pass it. Verdant Catacombs. Crack Verdant Catacombs. Overgrown Tomb. Utopia Sprawl. On black. Invasion of Tarkir. Well, let's see how much protection they got. I mean, it is not impossible that our opponent just kills us here. They could go protection spell, pump spell, and we're dead. All right, there's a protection spell. I mean, if that's their hand, there's nothing more our deck can do than what it did. Gets in, hits us. 1 poison. Opponent passes. Invasion of Urgamane. Well, let's tap this. Bolt the Glistener Elf. Well, I mean, at least we're making our opponent use their pump spells during our turn, that is big. Pass the turn. Another Ink Moth Nexus. Fires up the Ink Moth Nexus. Attacks. I mean, we're definitely blocking the Glistener Elf. Wow, opponent's gonna let it go? Okay. Get poisoned. I don't think there's any point in flipping it yet. So we're gonna untap. We draw an Arbor Elf. Green, red, black floating. Invasion of Tarkir. That's interesting. Do we play the Hexmage? We flip this. Let's just play an Arbor Elf. I think that's better than the Hexmage here. Play the Arbor Elf. Go to combat. Hit you with the Hexmage. Yeah, we're flipping these battles the Hexmage way. We're not gonna attack them. Opponent's down to 18. All right. So we can flip into Tarkir to get a flying blocker. We also have the mana to flip this to get an Ikoria, to get a Hexmage, to get a Zeltortha, which is an even better blocker. It really depends on what our opponent does. If they just fire up both Ink Moths, then we definitely are blocking. If they only fire up one, we probably take it. Opponent Ink Moth. All right, only firing up one. And scale up. Okay, now we definitely have to do this. Opponent attacks. Well, sack Hexmage. Go after the Tarkir. We can't take 6 poison. That's too much. Cast a Thundermaw. Block the Ink Moth. Kill the Ink Moth. We untap. Dryad Arbor. Well, okay. 1, 2. Play the Hexmage. Untap. Do we just pass? Yeah, I think we have to just pass. Oh, okay, pass the turn. Yeah, I guess we didn't need to untap there. Opponent untaps. Next turn we can get Zeltortha, but we have to survive this turn. Opponent, Ink Moth. Not Blighted Agent, not Blighted Agent. Oh, top deck's the Blighted Agent. Okay, that's bad. That's very bad. Another Hexmage. Well, go to combat. Hit our opponent with Hexmage. Oh, that Blighted Agent has me scared. Hit ya. Takes it. Well, tap. Untap. Tap. Hexmage. Flip. Cliff Charger. Dryad Arbor. Get Ikoria. Play Ikoria. Ikoria. Grab a Hexmage. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. So we can get Zeltortha. Oh, I wish Hexmage should remove counters from players. That would be big. Well, can we live 2 more turns? That's the question. Ink Moth fired up. Well, okay. Hexmage. Crack it on Ikoria. Get Zeltortha. Block the Ink Moth. Up to 4 poison. Zeltortha shrinks slightly. Opponent passes. Oh, what a draw! What a draw! I wonder if they have Dryad Arbor. They could have Dryad Arbor. Well, go to combat. Do some attacking. Takes the big hit. Are we gonna beat Infect? Is that possible? We could still die. Opponent goes to 6. Red-black. Invasion of Asglow. Make you sack. They need a Dryad Arbor off the Verdant Catacombs. Battle Edict for the... Oh, Battle Edict for the win. Battle Edict for the win. Untap. Yes. And opponent scoops it up. Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes, we never beat Infect. I was worried that I messed it up by going after Zeltortha. I don't know if you could see the look on my face. The turn where we turtled up Zeltortha and... yes, where I Ikoria'd up the Hexmage to get Zeltortha. After we tapped it untapped and hid the mana floating, it crossed my mind that, ooh, maybe we're doing this wrong. And maybe it would have been better to go after a Tarkir. We could have Tarkir to kill the Blighted Agent and then tried to flip around and block the Ink Moth. But it worked out. I don't know if it was the right line, but battle power, sweet. And the deck's actually kind of working somehow, some way, even in tough matchups. So not bad. And this hand's interesting. We got a Hexmage, so we can flip a battle. We'll see what our opponent's up to. Wooded Foothills. Go. Opponent. Oh, all right. Primeval Titan deck, eh? Overgrown Tomb tapped. Passing. We draw Lightning Bolt. Well, Wooded Foothills. And we will crack Wooded Foothills. Blood Crypt. And run out of Vampire Hexmage. Go. Well, I mean, we do have Blood Moons in the sideboard. So I guess that's our game plan. The problem is our opponent has turn 1 Amulet, and that usually means you die on turn 3. Plays an Expedition map. Gotta get that bounce land. Is there any way we can just race? It's so hard to race Primeval Titan. It's just, with Amulet, it's very difficult to raise. We can hit our opponent down to, so hit him to 18, hit him to 16, flip into the dragon, which hits for 6 a turn. That's not a bad start, but is it a beat a Primeval Titan start? Okay, opponent decides to play the bounce land. Bounce land untaps, goes of Amulet, pass the turn. We draw Blood-Stained Maya. Well, go to combat, hit you with the Hexmage. I mean, the problem is Primeval Titan just comes down this turn, down to 18. Well, we will Invasion of Tarkir, hit you for 2. Battles do require a lot of reading. All right, so opponent, down to 60. And we'll Blood-Stained Mire, and we'll pass the turn. Opponent cracks Expedition Map, and gets another bounce land. Pump fakes. Explore. So Sunholm, bounce land, Dryad. That is sketchy. I guess the question is, do we just flip the Invasion of Tarkir? All right, Simic Growth Chamber. That was tutor up off the Expedition Map. Opponent untaps the Growth Chamber, yeah, and picks it up and plays it right at the Ilson Grove. Another Explorer instead, sure. Opponent might go Synth Garden so they can copy the Amulet. You know, I think that Primeval Titan decks, sooner or later, they're going to get banned. Like, they just keep getting more pieces. I wonder, so I think there's an argument for just banning Primeval Titan. Wow, opponent does not copy the Amulet. Interesting. I guess we just flip into the dragon and see what happens. Like, it's hard to imagine us not getting Primeval Titan next turn, but not like we can do anything about it anyway. So, all right, flip it, get the dragon. Cast it. So we get to hit our opponent for 10. Like, in theory, we can win in 2 turns, which is not bad. In practice, our opponent can win next turn, which is a problem. Well, play the Forest. Play Invasion of Urgamon. I think we just discard the Keldheim. Draw Aether Snap. Is there any reason to flip the battle? Not really. Like, I think hit our opponent, shock our opponent, and we just try to kill our opponent next turn. Our opponent drops to 10. We hit for 6, 7, 8, 9. Asglow is 10. That's the plan. Do we live one more turn? That is certainly debatable. Our opponent's untapping with Gardens and Amulet and 7 cards in hand. Will there be a hasty Primeval Titan in our future? It is possible. If not, then we steal it. There's a bounce land. I mean, I think we mostly just F6. The Lightning Bolt's not gonna do anything, so we will F6, we'll kick back and watch the end of the universe. Cultivator Colossus. I guess theoretically could whiff. In practice, though, opponent. Can we skip, but can we scoop now? Yeah, I think we can scoop now. Well, that's kind of what we thought was going to happen. I mean, so I guess it's like 99.9999% that they win here. Like, this untaps for Vigilance and Haste. This is already 14 power. They should be able to pick up the Sunholm and use an extra land drop spell to give it double strike. So, I mean, I guess actually we're at 15, so I guess they might even not have to do that. Although they do have to pick up a couple lands to the bounce lands. But regardless, there's no coming back from that. What are our chances against this deck? I guess Thoughtseize can be good. Haywire Might can be good. Blood Moons, that's the go-to. And then maybe we have to bring in Force of Vigors. Like, I don't even know if we want Force of Vigors, but it's just so we have to be able to kill the Amulet. Like, none of that really can happen without the Amulet on the battlefield. So if we can somehow kill the Amulet, then we win that game. Like, without all those lands untapping, we win that game. But, I mean, I guess that's why they call it Amulet Titan. This we're gonna keep. We're kind of probably locking ourselves with a Blood Moon, but Wooded Foothills, crack Wooded Foothills. Overgrown Tomb untapped and Thoughtseize you. Dryad, double Primeval Titan, and Amulet. So I guess we take Amulet. Pass the turn. Oh, we really need like one more turn. We need to draw a fetch land to get a forest, I think, before we Blood Moon. Hexmage. Blood Mooning here, like, I'm just not sure we can win. We need to hopefully try to wait. At this point, we need to wait until after the Dryad comes down anyway, I guess. Well, hit our opponent to 18. Fetch land here for getting like a basic and playing Hexmage would be the best. The opponent, bounce land, picks up Slayer's Stronghold. Because we do need a clock. Oh, Stomping Grounds is kind of the worst. I guess we can wait one more turn. Well, Invasion of Tarkir. Even if we just find a single fetch land to get a forest, at least then we can turn on our Utopia Sprawls, Slayer's Stronghold, and Ride of the Ilson Grove, and Boros Garrison. I mean, now we have to Blood Moon, so this is it either way. Like, we have to do it now or else we just lose to the Primeval Titan. Actually, wait, they can't. Oh, they have 2 land drops, but their lands are tapped. They need an untap land. Oh, we've drawn all shocks and no fetches, which is so awkward. We have like 5 shocks and 10, I believe, fetches. We've just drawn all the shocks. I guess we did have 1 fetch, so maybe we should have like not thought seized, although then the amulet's down and we're probably already dead. If our opponent has another untap land, we lose. But if we Blood Moon without having a threat, we also lose, right? Yeah, I mean, I guess this is it. Untap land. We gotta risk it. That's only shot. Would have been so much better if we could have drawn a basic, but all right, run out the Vampire Hexmage, pass the turn. Well, hopefully our opponent does not have 2 untap lands. We know they have 1. Hopefully they don't have another one. If we can dodge the Titan for this turn, we can, oh, they have it, all right. Sure, all right, so now our opponent does win the game, unfortunately. Yeah. Well, that was a brutal way for that one to go for sure. Dying to the prime time with the Blood Moon in hand. So sad. So sad. Against the odds time, we are mulliganing, trying to do some Aether Snap battling in Modern. How many battles can we flip with Aether Snap? I like the amount of ramp that we have. Probably just put Tarkir to the bottom and maybe we can ramp into Keldheim. Winterfell Hills, Cracket, Forest, and Arbor Elf. We're gonna go for the gold, go for the turn 2 invasion of Keldheim. 1 up to opponent, Wooded Foothills, passing. So we're gonna wheel away 2 cards. Overgrown Tomb, untapped. Utopia's Brawl on red. Tap, untap. Invasion of Keldheim. All right, so well, that's an Aether Snap and a Hexmage. Oh, those are cards that we want to have in hand. It's a Stomping Grounds. Why does the battle overlap the lands? That's a little weird. Opponent. Moto. Just Moto things. Mountain. Oh. Okay. Oh no, is this the Imperiosar deck? Non-budget. Burning Tree Emissary. Do they have the Dino? That's 7, right? Oh boy, if they have the Dino, we're super dead. Although I guess we could remove the counters from it. No Dino? Oh, no Dino, okay. We got a little lucky to dodge the Dino there. Let's Utopia Sprawl from exile. I think we just Aether Snap here. Aether Snap, we're playing it to flip our battles, but it does have extra text. It exiles all tokens, which is actually hilariously somehow very relevant here. Goodbye, Goodbye, squirrels. Hoser. We found the hate card for the Imperiosar deck. Yeah, Aether Snap. Flip our invasion. Kill the squirrels. Yes. Okay. I didn't really think through that we could run into a straight up token deck and just wreck them with Aether Snap, but I guess that's possible. And then I think we just pass. Like, we could discard the Stomping Grounds and kill something, but our opponent can't Dino here anyway. With Pyre the World Tree, we get more value discarding lands during our turn because we can exile something that we could cast. Bushwhacker, no kicker. This must be double Bushwhacker turn. Yeah, Reckless Bushwhacker. So it's a big attack. Boy, we would have been super dead if we couldn't have killed those squirrels, we'd be straight up dead. That Aether Snap actually saved us. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, all right, whatever. We're at 7. Another Aether Snap. Well, let's kill the Burning Tree. Pitch the land. Hopefully we can block our way through this. The first strike on Hexmage helps. Kill that, block. We're only taking 1. If they have another Bushwhacker, we might be in trouble. Pyre the World Tree. Snipe a burning. Oh boy. All right, we're seeing the power of Pyre the World Tree. Spins into a Fury. Absurdly good here. We saw this when we played the budget Dino Whack deck. We saw just how brutal it actually is. Fury is so insane against this deck. I think we kill the Ornithopter since we can't block it easily. All right, 2 to Ornithopter. Bushwhacker. Our opponent can keep the Mem Knight. We got plenty of blockers for that. I don't know. Maybe there's some weird world where we get bushwhacked out by Ornithopters. We're set up to flip another battle if we draw one. Twice, actually. We have the Aether Snap and the Hexmage. I think we're in pretty good shape, though. Opponent. Chromatic Star. Chatterstorm. Oh, God. Oh, opponent. These Aether Snaps are just wrecking our opponent. Well, in our dream world, we draw another battle and then Aether Snap. Although, if we don't draw a battle, we probably still Aether Snap, because the only way I see us losing is our opponent building a board and then drawing Bushwhackers. Like, that would be the one way they could get in these last points of damage. Passes. A Blood Crypt. Well, we get to discard the Blood Crypt. One more shot to hit something to flip with the Aether Snap in battle. So Memnite down. We sort of draw a card. Oh, that's Ikoria. Oh, wow. Well, everything is coming up battles at the moment. Oh, this is the literal dream. Ikoria X1. I guess we just grab another Arbor Elf. Might as well. Oh, this is so brutal. Aether Snap. Out of your squirrels. 8/8 for free. And then, yeah, we will attack you with some deal damage even if they're blocked creatures. Yeah, this one is. This one is looking pretty over. Wow. It says only turn 5, too. It's not like this is some super late game. Like, this is turn 5. Pyre's going. We got Zolothr going. Is Aether Snap actually good? It was good in this matchup. Wow, the Squirrel Massacre. Opponent scoops it up. Ooh, that was... Well, let's just keep doing that, because that was sweet. Fury seems good. The Sweeper battle, Crosses seems good. There's probably a world where Chalice of the Void is worth it. Like, I think if we're on the play, Chalice goes up in value because we can play it before the Ornithopters and Memnites and whatnot, but on the draw, it's a little bit worse. Yeah, Kaldheim's a bit slow. We gotta cut one more of something. I don't know how good Bolt is, honestly. Like, I think we wait until next game. On Chalice, I'm really torn. I do love me some Chalice action. Yeah, let's just trim a Bolt, I think. Ooh, how do we beat a Imperiosaur is the question. Thoughtseize seems very counterintuitive against a super all-in aggro deck. It is one of the cards we have that can answer an Imperiosaur. We played a budget version of this deck, which you should check out because it's pretty sweet, the Imperiosaur 2020 on turn 2 deck. And one of the things we learned is a lot of your hands are like a bunch of things that make 1/1s in a single Imperiosaur. You're actually like trying to mulligan into that hand. So I think even though Thoughtseize, normally you do not want, I don't think, against a 8-wax style deck, I think because the deck is so all about Ancient Imperiosaur, and this does like cleanly answer it, and you can't Imperiosaur until turn 2, so even if we're on the draw, which we are, we can potentially just Thoughtseize the Dino after our opponent has their like whatever big turn 1 play. I think it's worth it. It's gonna be horrible off the top, but in our opening hand, Thoughtseize, I mean, because how else? Like, we have Grist, we have a couple of the Edict battles, we can remove the counters with Aether Snap, but we don't have a ton of ways to kill a 2020. So yes, that is a concern. Like, the Ancient Imperiosaur not draw, it beats pretty much anyone, including us, I think. Opponent's on the play. I think we keep this. I know 1 land, 1 keep is a meme, but the Imperiosaur deck doesn't have removal, so our Arbor Elf should get to live. And we have the Utopia Sprawl, so we actually have a lot of mana, even though we only have 1 land. Opponent, untap land, and Chromatic Star. If our opponent doesn't make a creature on turn 1, it seems unlikely that they can Dino turn 2. They're probably setting up like Kadaltha Rebirth, I would guess, off the Chromatic Star. They would have to have like, so you gotta spend a mana for the Kadaltha Rebirth, a bunch of Memnites. Yeah, it seems, I think we're safe to play Arbor Elf. I think we just play Arbor Elf. Opponent can make all their stuff, and then next turn, we can Thoughtseize before the Imperiosaur could come down. Still would like to draw land. Our life becomes great if we draw land. This hand with 1 more land is like absurd. All right, there's Kadaltha Rebirth. That makes sense. Opponent draws a card, makes some 1/1s, which also died to Aether Snap. Arid Mesa. What did Foothills? Crack it. I mean, we got a Thoughtseize, because next turn the Dino could come down if our opponent has a decent hand. I think we just take Stomping Ground, untapped. This deck's not going to be able to blow up our non-basic, so we can Utopia Sprawl our Overgrown too. So what we want to do here, I think, well, this is actually going to be a great turn now that we do that land. Set this on black. I think we can Invasion of Ikoria to get another Arbor Elf and Thoughtseize, and then this gives us enough mana. Yeah, Thoughtseize you. This gives us enough mana that next turn, oh, there's a Dino. Yeah, they could play it next turn, couldn't they? Wouldn't be a 2020, but it'd still be big. Big enough to make us die. All right, so Thoughtseize plan works. Invasion of Ikoria. And then, I mean, next turn we just, I think we mostly just end our opponent here. Grab another Arbor Elf. This Aether Snap is so incredibly brutal here. We get an 8/8. Our opponent loses their board. Seems good. Seems good. That Force of Vigor could be a problem at some point. Hopefully our opponent can't use it this turn. We need one more turn with the Utopia Sprawl to make sure we can Aether Snap. Opponent Stomping Grounds tapped. Can we also Urgamon? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, we can. My God. Opponent Ornithopter. Oh, this turn's gonna be spectacular. Opponent gonna bushwhack us. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're going to 4. All right, sure. We will take it. Our turn's gonna be pretty good. Asglow, not the best of the battles here. See if we can tap properly. Tap, untap, and then tap. So we need double black, green, red. Tap, tap. Urgamon. Discard Asglow? Yeah, let's discard Asglow. We draw Forest. Aether Snap him. Kill the goblins. Flip Urgamon. Urgamon comes into play. Oh, this is so good. Urgamon comes into play. We can discard the land to get another Ikoria, just in case. Ikoria, we get an 8/8, and I mean, that should be game. That should be game. Wow, this is turn 3. This is turn 3. Double battle flip off the Aether Snap. Boy, when we don't get disrupted, this deck really does some sweet things. All right, opponent, Stomping Grounds, untapped. Oh goodness. Yeah. I mean, we have lethal, right? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Blocking doesn't do anything. And then we can bolt for the last point of damage. Well, all right. Go to combat. Swing with the crew. Yeah, I mean, I think this is lethal. Not really any reason to block, I guess. Down to 1 and bolt your face. And that is, wow, that is everything we dreamed of. That is the full-on battle flipping Aether Snap dream. Yeah, that was pretty sweet. That was pretty sweet. So what do we learn this week about Aether Snap battles in Modern? And overall, the deck sort of worked. We went 2-3 in a league, 2-2 in some one-off matches, so just under a 50% match win percentage overall. Most importantly, I mean, we got to see a lot of battles flip, which is what our goal was. Like, we got to see, I guess, the good and the bad. We did have some Modern games where we just kind of got run over by Modern Horizons 2 cards, turn 3 Primeval Titans. That's a thing that's going to happen sometimes, but we also got to see just some absurd games where we'd flip like 5 or 10 battles throughout the game. The Living End game was absolutely ridiculous. The token combo game was also absurd. We got to see the token blowout against the Dino Whack deck with Aether Snap actually exiling our opponent's tokens. That was hilarious. So I feel like the plan of like using Hexmage and Aether Snap to flip battles, it's not that bad. Is it on par with, I'm going to play a turn 3 Primeval Titan? No, but not much is. But as far as like janky rogue brews, the deck had a lot of synergies. We got to see a lot of Zeltorthos. We flipped so many battles. It was actually like super, super sweet. I gotta say, I was especially impressed with Vampire Hexmage. Like, I think that's the sneaky all-star, and maybe the synergy between Hexmage and battles deserves even more exploration. Like, yeah, it's awesome with Invasion of Ikoria. You know, sometimes you get blown out by a fatal push on Zeltortho, but still, it's a really, really strong synergy. But flipping our other battles, there's a lot of power there as well. We had some really cool lines where you can like Hexmage to flip a Urgamon, to get the Cliff Stomper, to discard something, to get an Ikoria, to get another Hexmage, to flip that. And you just do these really weird synergistic loops. So I think that the deck, it's not breaking Modern or anything like that. This is not one of the weeks where we broke it. But if you want to jam it in FNM or something, I think you can actually get some wins with it. We got to take down some really good Modern decks, and even a lot of our losses, like, we're pretty competitive and long and grindy. Yes, there's some of the Primeval Titan games or whatever. Like, those are going to happen on occasion in Modern. But in general, the deck felt pretty reasonable, and it's super unique, and it's super fun, and it's super cool to see a card like Aether Snap, which has just mostly been lost in time, suddenly actually do some really cool things. On top of flipping the battles, there were a couple of matches we were able to actually get value out of exiling tokens or whatever. So if you like battles and you like jank, I think it's actually like kind of a fun but not truly competitive, definitely a semi-competitive option for Modern. But that's Aether Snap battles. That's been our Against the Odds for this week. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon.